So I go out on it was 2 days later, that was a Wednesday, and I compete in the 2000 Olympics. I've made a mess up here. You guys took the insurance out on this thing, right? Yeah. Good. And so I compete in a game of inches. Literally, that much or less can be the difference between first, second, and third. I went out and I had a bad day. I'm not going to make any excuses for it. I didn't perform, and I got beat by a guy from Finland who had a career day. But I walked away with this. And I don't bring these out very often, as most people know me. I think Bert and I have known each other for a long time. I don't think I've ever shown this to him. It's a silver medal from the 2000 Olympics. I lost by 2.5 inches. I did this on a whim. Not a whim. I really was trying to put off an inevitable thing of getting a job. Doing something that I happen to enjoy doing, lifting, training, throwing the shot put. And I was 2.5 inches short of winning gold. That's all I needed to stick around for another 4 years. 4 years has been a mantra for a lot of my life. 4 more years. Let's do it. 4 more years. Probably a lot longer than anybody else in my family or friends would say I should have done it. 4 more years. So I recommitted myself to this goal. The following year, 2001, silver at the World Championships. 2003, silver at the World Championships. 2004, I'm going to come back to 2004, so I'm going to put the footnote on it right now. Silver at the Olympic Games. The press labeled me the first loser. They were brutal. They held that mirror up. They said, look, this is as good as you are. My process was flawed. So I sought somebody out that knew more. I first talked to Judd Logan, man who'd been there and done it. I have a lot of respect for that man. And he pointed me in the direction of a strength coach by the name of Charles Poliquin. And Charles was kind enough to see me and work with me for a little over, we've worked off and on for 10 years now, or I guess I can't do math because I'm a shot putter. That was 2003. I started working with him in 2003, and I worked with him from 2004, 2006, sometimes in 2007, and then we consult on a fairly regular basis. But Charles changed the way I train. So when I went into that 2004 Olympic Games, I was faster, I was stronger, I was ready to throw. I'm going to tell you the story about the 2004 Olympic Games. It's unique in sports. It happened at the ancient Olympic Stadium in Olympia, Greece. The birthplace of all competitive sports as we know it. There was no such thing as produced sports until the Olympic Games. And this is where it all started. I'm a high energy guy when I compete. This is a small venue. This is tailor-made for me. I can remember everything about this day. We walk in through the ruins of the ancient Olympic buildings and such, and there's an arch that still stands in this cut through the hillside, because the stadium is really no more than a bowl. And I walk through that, and I can see, you can feel it. It was so freaking hot that day. There's no shade anywhere. It's just a bowl of dust. There are 25,000 people there just to see the shot put. First throw of the day. I take the lead. There are 60 throws total in an Olympic competition. For 58 of those 60 throws, I'm winning. On the 59th throw of the competition, we don't take 60 throws, it's 60 throws across the field, just so you know. On the 59th throw of the competition, the guy that had been trailing me in the second place from the Ukraine tied my best mark. The tie-breaking rule in Olympic Games goes back to your second best throw. I had 4 fouls since my first throw. This is that moment that we dream of as children. Except instead of shooting that three-point shot with 2 seconds left on the game or catching that winning touchdown, I'm stepping into the circle on the largest stage of the sporting world. I have to throw farther to win. This is not a bad time in American history, but we weren't well liked. Americans weren't. I step into this ring, and I mean, I can actually taste this day. Derek was talking about how when you start thinking about these things, it takes you back to that moment. I can see everything about that day. I can see the person that was sitting like literally right here, the hat that he was wearing. I can feel the sweat on my neck. I can feel the chalk on my neck that we use to try to keep the ball stuck on our neck when it's super hot and we're sweating like crazy. I had one task: clarity. I knew when I stepped into that circle that what happened afterwards was going to dictate the rest, or at least the next few days, few years of my life. It was going to be a determining factor in my life, that moment. And I can remember stepping into the circle. People were either cheering or booing. I got people clapping because that's what I like to do. And they started clapping. Some of them were booing. And I stepped into the circle, and I remember planting my feet. I remember when the shot put touched the coolness of the steel touching my neck, and all of a sudden I felt this surge of adrenaline. I see the shot put fly farther than it had flown the whole day before. It was at least 2 feet farther. It comes down. I just won the Olympic Games. I'm like, I fucking won. And I look to my left, and I see a red flag raise. I fouled. Now, the other corner of my eye, I see the athlete from the Ukraine start his victory lap. For 8 years, I thought that competition was over. For 8 years. I get a call, 2012, from a reporter, because where's my German friend? The Associated Press from Germany had leaked a story about 100 samples from the Athens Olympic Games being retested, and 5 athletes had tested positive. She calls me and she says, "Hey, have you heard anything?" Little PR communications dealing with reporters. When a reporter calls you and says, "Hey, have you heard anything?" and you don't know what they're talking about, do not give them an answer. Clarify it. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, they retested the samples, 5 of them. It's rumored that one of the guys was a shot putter. I haven't heard anything. London Olympics go by. I don't hear anything. There's an 8-year statute of limitations on retroactive drug testing. That 8 years passed during the Olympic Games. So this high that you might have from getting this phone call is followed by an immediate low again. And it wasn't the first time that this had happened. It had actually happened 3 weeks, 6 weeks, and 6 months after the actual Olympics. We've been told that someone had tested positive. You stop listening to those things, and all of a sudden I find myself coming down in this low, and then I get a call in September of 2012 from the same reporter. She says, "Have you heard anything?" I said, "We've played this game before. What are we talking about?" "Well, the IOC is supposed to make a ruling today." While I'm on the phone with her, she says, "Oh my God, you're the Olympic gold medalist." This.